Welcome to Daily Grind. Remember this fire crotch, cunt bag? Jen Psaki, the former press secretary for Dementia Joe? Well, she wrote a fucking book. Before we get into that book and that shit, let's look back on something Dementia Joe did.
President Biden announced the end to the U.S. war in Afghanistan from the same spot in the White House Treaty Room as President George W. Bush announced its beginning 20 years ago.
It's time to end America's longest war. It's time for American troops to come home.
The president said the U.S. would withdraw all forces by September 11th.
Remember that? And how it led to this? And this.
We do have a lot of news to get to this morning, starting with that chaos following the horrific attack outside the Kabul airport. This is now the deadliest attack on U.S. forces in Afghanistan in more than a decade.
And the Taliban getting their hands on, I'm not even going to put a money value on the amount of equipment these Stone Age living assholes got their hands on. And that's why Fire Crotch's book is such a big deal right now.
10 Marines, 1 Navy medic, 1 Army soldier, and 1 other service member killed.
During the dignified transfer, where these 13 U.S. service members came home, Joe Biden was accused of checking his watch repeatedly, almost as if he didn't want to be there. Back to this book bullshit. In her book titled Say No More, published in May of 2024, Psaki basically called bullshit on Biden's critics, who she said seized on the callous moment to make him appear insensitive, meaning Joe Biden, who seemed only concerned about how much time has passed, claiming he only looked at his watch after the ceremony had ended.
Wow! The land of make-believe!
That dignified transfer ceremony I was talking about. I mean, really? Does this dumb fucking bitch really think we have no access to technology or media and that we can't fact check this bullshit? I'm sorry, fact check is such a liberal term.
In reference to the checking of his watch, that didn't happen just once. That happened on every single one that came out of that airplane. It happened on every single one of them. They would release the salute and he looked down at his watch on every last one, all 13. He looked down at his watch.
I actually leaned into my son's mother's ear and I said, I swear to God, if he checks his watch one more time, and that was only probably 4 times in, I couldn't look at him anymore after that.
Axios first reported on the book's inaccuracy because, like I said, everyone with access to the internet can check this shit. Psaki said President Biden only checked his watch at the end of the ceremony in her book. An article from the New York Post says 6 Gold Star family members in an exclusive interview with the New York Post demanded a retraction and an apology from Psaki for inaccurately writing that the highly watched moment of President Joe Biden checking his watch was nothing more than misinformation. Darren Hoover, whose son, Marine Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover, 31, was killed in the blast from an ISIS-K suicide bomber at the Hamad Karzai International Airport's Abbey Gate in Kabul, said, "It needs to be removed." Hoover also said, "To go and put this in a book and memorialize it for all to see is nothing short of disgusting. I mean, it's reprehensible to me." Reps for MSNBC, where Psaki slithered into in March 2023 to host Inside with Jen Psaki, had nothing to say about the lie in her book. What's that tell you about MSNBC? Let's be honest though, being a Democrat means never having to say you're sorry. Obviously, it's no secret now that this withdrawal from Afghanistan was a major fuck up on Joe Biden's part. And any chance Joe Biden, his aides, or former employees like Jen Psaki, who was making $180,000 a year at the White House as the press secretary, can change the narrative on Joe Biden's fuck-ups to make them go away and work in their favor, they will. Psaki has since been told that she needs to take this lie out of her book. During the State of the Union address, one of the fathers of the 13 service members killed was removed and arrested for yelling at Biden during his speech.
The year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then. Through my...
Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time here on Daily Grind.